listen, thanks for watching. Tonight we did one of these last week, just a health chat with my friend Kyle Loveless, Dr. Kyle Loveless. And we just wanted to get on here and provide just some really great resources. We're not selling anything. We're not pushing anything. And I would say I also want to present it to you as it's more tools for your toolbox. You know, I know some people are going to be like, I don't know, my tool has always been, you know, this or that. And I'm not trying to force anything on you guys, but I think we can give you some more tools that you could grab. That for my family, our tools, the only tools that we knew was honestly just Tylenol, ibuprofen, go to the doctor. That was all the tools we had. And so I sure don't want anyone to feel challenged because that's what they've known, because that was all I knew. Yeah. And
I mean, me too.
Right?
I was until 24 years old. That's all I did too.
But what we're trying to offer is some more tools that are, you know, completely actually just getting your body to do what it was created to do. And so last week we talked, let's see, I'm going to bring up my notes here. Last week we talked a little bit about becoming your own health expert, just learning how your body works, being more familiar with, you know, how God created your body. And also we talked about just building up a titanium immune system, and how we can become really just healthy people. And the stronger our immune system gets, the more we don't have to worry about things, about viruses getting on us and taking us down. And so we're being proactive instead of reactive, basically. And so I just want to thank Kyle again for doing this. Thanks so much. I know people are going to enjoy this. And so this week we want to talk about a couple more topics. And one of the ones that is really just a big topic right now is how to keep my family healthy when there's, you know, a lot of fear going on. So I'm going to give you some space just to talk into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really tough. And because number one, with your family, it's not just you.
Yeah. So
you can somewhat control yourself. I mean, it's discipline, but we control ourselves. But to get your kids to do it and then not give you mess for it. Like our daughter is so wild, like not growing up in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
She's still growing up, but in the last 3 years, for the first year and a half or first year when she actually ate food, that, you know, when she started eating food, all she ate was vegetables and healthy meats. And it was so simple. And we're like, oh, our kid's great. All she does is eat vegetables. And now she's like, doesn't like broccoli anymore. And now she doesn't like this anymore. And all she'll eat is a carrot.
I didn't tell her anything.
I know, you did.
I didn't tell her anything.
She watches y'all worship and she dances like, you know, she eats like, I'm just
I kept my mouth shut. Even when I'm at your house and she's eating,
Yeah, but anyways, no, she still eats very well. But it's been more challenging. So I've had to actually realize like what that really is like. It's like we'll let you have a little bit of this afterwards if you eat this kind of thing. So I get it with kids. So at the end of the day, it's looking at stuff you can control, right? And also, I'd say the other big thing is to realize that as the parent, you are the parent. I think it's so hard for parents. It's hard for me. It's hard for anybody to, at some point, you just have to draw a line and say that food's, we're talking about eating here, that food's not available. You know, like if some parents will come in sometimes like, all they'll eat is French fries. My kid doesn't even know what a French fry is. So like, that's not their fault, right? Yeah. So there's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow there, but it's the truth is that there's a point of drawing the line and just taking the uncomfortableness that's going to be. I mean, they're going to cry, they're going to throw a fit and all that. But then just like every other situation, eventually they change and they get back. And the cool part about that is you just set your child up for the rest of their life to be successful. So the pain in the moment's going to take care of everything in the long run. So that's one thing is just, you know, being disciplined with it.
Even for us, and we're not, you know, you guys are goals, but we're not there yet with some of this. But even with us,
like our goals,
your goals.
Oh, these are gold. I was like,
your goals, your gold too. You can be gold, but you know, we're not as far along as you guys in this journey, but even with our little girl, I mean, she's got a major sweet tooth, and it's a challenge. Like, I mean, and it runs in my family. Like, my dad's mom had it, my dad has it. Unfortunately, I have it.
Sweet DNA.
And my little girl has it. And in this whole season of trying to really keep our immune system strong, we've really been even just pushing a lot more effort at taking out a lot of those foods that I know are going to weaken immune systems. And it's hard for her. She's like, I want ice. She's ice cream. It's her challenge is ice cream. But Tiffany and I are constantly just, you know, sweetie, we're really trying to strengthen ourselves right now. And so I know for us, just parenting, it ain't easy, man. It's not for the weak, but sometimes you just got to do what the Lord tells you to do and go for it.
I think a lot of parents will give into that one. I mean, like they do great with their kids with everything, but then they're like, it's just they're tired at the end of the night. It's like, yeah, it's fine, do it, you know. So so that's part of it. And I think the bigger thing is to really know what you're giving them, because a lot of times, I tell parents, they'll say, okay, we're going to take out sugar, right? Maybe their child comes in like and they just can't focus, right, or something. It's like, okay, we're going to take sugar out and we're going to take these food dyes out, and they say, well, they don't eat any of that, and I'll say, okay, cool. So next 4 days, write down everything they eat. And I'm looking at it and it's like, no, that's all sugar. They just don't realize it was all sugar because they're not thinking, I don't feed my kid a bowl of white sugar, right? Or they don't eat a lot of ice cream or something like that. But the truth is that most of the foods that we eat are mostly either sugar or turned to sugar, and they're made with a lot of bad fats or bad oils that inflame the body. Okay. So I'll just use like ADD, ADHD, for instance, because because that's a kind of a sign of inflammation within the system and hard to focus. Kind of real definition of ADD is like just can't focus because of the inflammation that builds up. And so the way we're able to help is to get inflammation back down. Wow. And so knowing what you're feeding your child, reading ingredients and seeing how much sugar is actually in it, one, and then two, what did you just feed them throughout the day? Yeah. So sometimes it's like, just this doesn't have too much, but then this and this and this, and it all adds up.
It adds up to a bowl full of sugar.
Yeah. And then knowing, I'll just say it's usually the moms that are the ones that are going to be more inclined to like read about this stuff and learn it. So I'll just speak to that, or speak to them, is that you really have to become, like we said in the last one, you're an expert in these things. Like it really does. Like in the world we live in today, years ago, you didn't have to think of any of this stuff because everything wasn't bad for you. Yeah. But right now, the stuff that's in our world, even the things that have organic on them, are unhealthy for us and are causing a lot of health issues in our kids. So I would say the number one thing in raising a healthy family is, again, becoming the expert, even if it's in nutrition.
Okay, speak into that just 1 minute, because I think you just probably poked a really good thing to poke. Just because it says it's organic doesn't mean it's good for you. Because I think that's, people walk the shelves, organic, get it. So just quickly, what does that mean?
Yeah, it also breaks the bank too.
It's very expensive.
Yeah. So I try to stay away from this intersections because it costs too much dang money. But so if just because it says organic doesn't mean it's necessarily healthy. That just means they use organic products, but they could use organic sugar. They can use canola oil, which is going to be super inflammatory to the body. Okay. Lots of things like that. There still can be other things in there, and sometimes it's not even all organic when it says organic too. But let's say there's a lot of wheat in there and it's organic, a lot of corn. Those things are really inflammatory to our body. Or organic dairy, well, it's still pasteurized dairy, and it's still going to be inflaming our bodies.
What's an alternative for dairy?
You got our almond milks, you got coconut milk, flaxseed milk, oat milk, things like that. So you still want to go organic on those. But I would say the best thing you can really do is try to get where you don't care about dairy or don't care about milk, because there's really no need for any of it. But if your kids are just like always had milk, then I would go with one of those. Yeah.
This is obviously for my children. That's why I'm asking.
So with Eleanor, we do that. You can go with one of those. But the way it works is just really becoming the expert in understanding that a lot of those things have sugar, a lot of them have additives. Just because it's organic doesn't mean it's healthy.
Okay, so that's good.
And not all that you couldn't really teach in this period of time.
Yeah, of course.
So you got to go online and just start reading. Some great websites. Actually, this is a good thing. So some great websites to become the expert on. You can go to draxe.com. He has a great one. There's the Weston A. Price. I think it's .org. You can just Google Weston A. Price. Some great stuff on there with nutrition. Go to The Wellness Way, thewellnessway.com. They have amazing articles and things like that. Just understand the human body, watching videos that they produce. So there's a lot of them, but I think the Food Babe, I don't like look at all of her stuff, but I've heard she's amazing. She does really good stuff for nutrition for moms. But you just start researching. Our patients over the years that have come in originally for their child's asthma or allergies or something like that, and then that went away. Well, they just kept learning and kept learning and kept learning. And then they'll actually become, I call it the expert, because then they start teaching all the other moms. So sometimes to raise a healthy family, kind of think of it as like you're learning to be able to teach other families. And then all of a sudden your family's healthy. Yeah. It's kind of cool.
It's easier to stay healthy when you're in a healthy tribe too. Yeah. When people around you are making better decisions. Yeah. It's easier for you.
And if you're teaching it and preaching and telling everybody, then you're like, you feel guilty when you're doing it. I've caught myself later. I'm like, I can't eat this.
I have a funny story. I think I've told you about that, where I was actually near our church. There's a big shopping complex called the Arboretum. And I was, you must have been meeting your babysitter, because you had just gotten your little girl back. And she was in the back of your pickup truck playing around. And I I'm not going to say which restaurant it is, but there was a fast food joint I haven't eaten at in 2 or 3 years. And I was like, all of a sudden I wanted to go to this place. I never have a craving for this place. I mean, ever. I know the pain this place brings me. And all of a sudden,
like Taco Bell
I'm not going to tell you, but I really, really wanted this place. It wasn't Taco Bell. I'm not to that point. And I was driving to the drive-thru and I passed you and I just got hit with this wave of, I can't do it. I can't do it. And
I drive a white truck, so it's kind of like the white horse came in.
So I changed paths. But it's true. It's true when more of the people around you start making healthier decisions. And for me, it's a journey. I mean, like I want to really get to the place where I'm just nailing all this. But I realize like every step is so much better than if I take 10 steps forward. I'm that much farther forward than I was, a month ago. And so
that actually would be my other advice on raising a healthy family is not beating yourself up because you didn't do something right.
Yeah.
At the same time, hold yourself accountable.
Yeah. So
you don't want to condemn yourself to where you quit.
Yeah.
You still jump back on, but at the same time, you also don't want to be like, no big deal. You still have to have a level of like accountability there so that you can slowly start to get better and better at it too. So
that's good. That's good. One of the things that people were asking, and I'm going to just tie in a couple question and answers. One of the things that somebody sent in was referring to the coronavirus. So this video is probably going to be floating around for a really long time, which is going to be funny because I think a few months from now they're going to watch it and this is all over. But right now, when we're filming this,
it's triggered people to start thinking more.
It's in the middle of the heat of the coronavirus and the potential lockdowns and quarantines. One of the people that wrote in said, what about babies, specifically newborns in their position? But what about babies in this process? We're hearing a lot about the elderly. What do we need to be aware of or proactive with? I mean, anything for babies.
So with babies, number one across the board, if you can, everything's going great, then breastfeeding. Okay. There's no question about it. Breast milk has been shown to even like help with cancers and things like that. Such high IgA levels, which is huge for your immune system. And that baby's getting the immune system from the mom. So the mom eating healthy is very, very, very important.
It's all passing through.
Yeah, if the mom's eating junk, then the baby's still getting, believe it or not, our bodies are that awesome that the baby's still doing good, but not nearly as good as they could be. So moms, and the mom not taking any medications too, because that's going into the baby as well. And I know that a lot of times the medical community can say it's safe. It's not. No, it's really not. So those two things are right off the bat. Breast milk is amazing. If you can't straightforward breastfeed, they've actually shown, this is cool, they have two twins that are both breastfeeding, right? And one, they actually see the milk that was produced from it, and one is like a whole different color. One's yellow, full of like colostrum and things like that. And one's more white, based on what the baby needed.
Whoa.
So this intelligence that God put inside of us, it literally can tell from the saliva from the baby, the mom's breast milk created differently for that baby. That's why breastfeeding is so essential. So like for our youngest, Isabel, she hasn't been latching on, hasn't been able to breastfeed consistently, but even then Holly's still at least getting her there. I know it might be uncomfortable for some people, but Holly's at least getting her there so that her body knows what type to produce, what to produce, and what enzymes and what good bacteria and all that stuff. So a baby, when they're born, has no bacteria on them. We actually get our bacteria through the birthing process, so through the vaginal canal, through some other areas I won't talk about because it's gross, and then through breast milk.
Okay,
and that's how we create our microbiome, which is essentially 80% of our immune system.
Wow.
So that baby being right now the number one by far, I think babies have a stronger. So when I told you about the fever that I got and Holly got and Eleanor got, Isabel was fine.
Wow.
The whole time, fine.
Wow.
No problems whatsoever. So they're just super being pumped with this stuff right now. So breastfeeding by far. If you can't breastfeed, then milk feed by pumping. If you can't do that, then you can connect. There's actually if you connect with me, I'll give you a I forgot where camera over there. I forget. Give me a message me and I'll get you a formula, like an organic, like clean formula you can give your child. That's one word right now is getting formulas for people. That's nervousness.
So, and again, I don't want to get, people could watch this and feel like if they watch it now, I don't want to come out there and say that I'm going to tell you to do something different than what the government's recommending. But let's just kind of talk about, there's a lot of fear right now about like, what you touch, things getting picked up. I know one of your pet peeves, and this will probably annoy some people, but he can say it better than I can. But what about hand sanitizer? Like that's the number one thing that like everybody is going through right now.
I was just thinking how much I touch my face too.
Me too. I touch my face constantly. But I know that you talk about that a lot, what hand sanitizer really is. But we're not real, most of us are not knowledgeable in this stuff. And so we're don't touch things, wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, which can again create a super fearful, world to live in with a child. Because I was with, where was I? I went to Disney World actually last week, the last day that Disney World was open before they shut it down for this virus. I went with a few friends. One of their friends had a little kid who was, I think, 4 years old. And, you're standing in these lines where the handrails and the kid's like rubbing his lips down the handrails. And you're like thinking, there's no way with children, like an adult, like don't touch this, So I think a lot of parents get a lot of fear because they're like, oh, my kid's like face is touching stuff.
It's like an elf when he's chewing, picking all the gum off the bottom of the rail.
Right. But how do we speak into that? Because I want to hopefully like bring some of the anxiety down with parents, like. You don't have to worry, don't find yourself caught up in complete worry about your kid.
I mean, especially for kids, the worst thing we can possibly do is constantly be cleaning everything.
Okay.
So many studies have shown that kids that actually play in the dirt and do all those things are healthier and live longer and everything else. And actually, there's a study I posted this the other day, and it was actually in 2006, but how important microorganisms are to our chronic health, our long-term health, right? So an acute infection has actually been shown to reduce your risks of cancers.
Wow.
So the study literally said that acute infections are amazing for our long-term immune system health because it increases what we call our CD4 or CD8 ratio. If you've ever heard of HIV, that's what they test to see how strong their immune system is.
Okay.
That's what takes out viruses in our body. That's what takes out tumor cells, right? So it's kind of like going to the gym and working out when you get an acute issue. So when your kid has a fever, its body's working the way it's supposed to. It's actually a good thing. It's just really scary because your mind goes into like fear, like this is going to happen, something you heard on a story or something, right? So it's actually a good thing. Like the microorganisms is actually a really important part. It's the chronic infections that cause cancer and things like that. So we won't go into that.
Okay.
But so cleaning your child all the time actually kills all that good bacteria that they have on their body to keep it healthy and safe. When it comes to hand sanitizers, I'll be date off on this, maybe like 2 years ago, the FDA, and you can actually go look this up, the FDA came out and said that there's carcinogenic chemicals within it, and it was supposed to come off the market. And this is from the FDA. I have it somewhere on my computer probably, but it's on Google. And then, but for some reason it never happened. I'm sure businesses and things like that came together and changed that. But I remember when I was going to taking our daughter to school for the first day of school, and the teacher was there like putting the Purell on people.
Yeah.
And my daughter, and she walks up and just naturally, I was like this. I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? Like you just one did that, didn't ask me. But two, it's like that's a chemical killing all the good stuff in our hands.
Wow.
So there's ways to clean your hands, obviously, but those are actually not only chemicals that are hard to break down. And what we got to realize is our skin actually absorbs more than our mouth does.
Wow.
So when you take a shower, you're getting more chemicals from that shower than you do when you drink the tap water.
Wow.
Because it absorbs it in. So the same thing, it just goes right in.
So what's a real practical way what's stuff that you guys use for cleaning your hands or for your kids?
So I mean, just normal soaps, not crazy antibacterial soaps, but organic soaps. We'll use that. Okay. And then if we're like out and about and we want to clean our hands, we have these organic baby wipes that are essential oils and stuff on them. But then you could also, they make, I just had at the clinic, Jen had at the clinic is Young Living, I'm not putting a brand, just happened to be the one, but it's an essential oil with thieves in it.
Yeah.
And it's a hand sanitizer with a bunch of chemicals.
Got one of those.
Yeah, so those are great. But even those I wouldn't do nonstop. The reality is that the viruses are there. You can kill them, but they're still there. They're coming back. So you can't just constantly do that. So the truth is you strengthen your body. And if your pH is good, one of the best things to help pH of your skin is apple cider vinegar.
Wow.
Actually, just put it in all over your skin.
Wow.
It helps the pH all the way through. But you can, cleaning, you can use lemon essential oils. You can use vinegar. Vinegar and peroxide are extremely strong for killing almost any microbial together. Yes, the chemicals really are unnecessary, and I'd say it's more of a corporate business than anything.
Okay.
Lysols, all that kind of stuff is just, it'll lead to cancers or anything.
So, so going forward from there, again, these things we could shoot. Maybe we'll get to shoot more videos. But so many different things with raising a healthy family. But one of the things that we're feeling right now is just the overload of stress. And I also want to maybe even tie that into, this wasn't in my notes, but how that affects our sleeping too. Because I think that, that's the word the Lord's had on my heart a lot right now is rest. But I think it's really important. I think people are being actually forced into a place of having to slow down a little bit in a good way. And it provides a space to reconnect with your kids, to reconnect with the Lord if you haven't, and to rest, And so how does the stress that's happening affect our family, ourselves, and our rest? How does that work?
Well, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, it goes back to how we perceive it. But if we're just kind of like the world's coming to an end, that's all we can focus on. Then you're going to be like anybody that did that would be stressed. For our kids. I don't know if I'm the best person to talk to that because mine are so young they don't have a clue what's going on.
Right. No, I think they're fine. I think it's more the atmosphere that we set in the home.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's that atmosphere of just bringing peace and joy into your home.
Yeah.
Like bringing God, like worship music all day long. That's probably the best thing in the world you could do for your family's health because it calms the environment. Yeah. Like you're going to worship music and you yell at people with your worship music. It's like just doesn't work, right?
No, it's so true. I mean, even when my little girls, we left town recently and went to Florida, and it was funny because the Lord had woken me up in the middle of the night, and I knew something, like I felt one of them was not doing well. And my kids have screen times on their phone, like their Apple devices, so they can't just use them all the time. And I noticed one of them had asked to be able to access the music app, and it was like at 2 a.m, and I thought I knew it. She wants to play worship music. And so I got on there and I allowed that app, and I got up the next morning, I called her, and she said that she was just having a rough night without mommy and daddy there. But she said, I wanted to put on worship music. And so I think it's so huge that we're able to train up even a generation that understands when things aren't going well. They're starting to turn to the Lord. Like I can easily just, there's some of the good sides of an iPhone or an iPad. You can just immediately have your access to put worship music on.
Yeah. And that's so big because, growing up, it was always like you were told to do it this way.
Yeah.
Like when you feel bad, you play worship music, or at night, be like, it's time to pray. I don't want to pray. No, we're praying.
Right. Right. But no,
this is what you do.
Well, it's because they're starting to get it's a relationship.
But if you do it, like they just watch you do it, and that's just then they just like, oh, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so opening that environment. One thing I want to hit on though with raising a healthy family is that screen time stuff and then moving, getting out and moving.
Yeah.
Right now, even though it's quarantine, you can go in your backyard, and the sunlight is amazing right now. So get out in the sunlight. That would probably be my second best thing because number one, it helps your emotional stress. Get barefoot in the grass, walk in, as long as you don't put chemicals in your grass. Go barefoot in the grass, and it absorbs energy from the earth. And you also are breathing fresh air. The air inside is way more toxic than the air outside, believe it or not. So get out and breathe fresh air. Let your skin show so you get some vitamin D and absorb it. I mean, that's just 5 health benefits of just going outdoors.
Wow.
It's free, right? And kids aren't sitting, and so their blood flow is moving, their lymph's moving, everything's working. So don't let your kids just sit and watch TV right now either. Because you're scared that they might get a virus outside, because that doesn't actually work that way. So you don't have to be scared of that. Get them outside. That's actually going to prevent them from getting a virus.
That's a good thought, because I think some people are even scared to go outside.
I see that, and it's like that's the best place you could be. It's healthier than indoor air, no question about it.
Wow.
And if viruses were just, to be really honest, if viruses were just swimming around the air, looking out to kill us, we wouldn't be here.
That's so true.
There's more viruses on this planet than there are stars in the universe. We would be dead. So then there goes back to that. It's like, and that's what I meant. Like if you become your health expert and you know that, then somebody says, this virus is going to kill everybody. And when somebody tells me that, I'm like, that's not possible. And so I'm immediately not scared about it because I know like that doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I don't care what they said. It doesn't work that way.
That's so good, man. I want to just a couple of questions, and again, we'll come back. There's so many things that I know you could talk about and dig into really deep. Check out his Facebook. He's got videos sometimes almost every day that go live that hits a lot of these topics. But there's just a couple more questions that I thought we'd hit before we wrap it up. And one of them was actually on on colloidal silver. And the person said, I've been hearing and reading mixed messages on colloidal silver and how to use it. Is it something practical for keeping your immune system strong? And if yes, why? So
first thing I would say on that is, because this can be to really I can say it's good for you and everything else, but then like somebody else will say it's bad.
Okay.
So to actually understand colloidal silver and why it's good for you, there's a video. If you just YouTube Dr. Patrick Flynn, Flynn, he did a video not too recently on colloidal silver, where he goes to the science of it, how it works, everything else. It's pretty cool. I actually learned a lot from it too. So you can watch that first, but colloidal silver is absolutely great.
Yeah.
It's really good because one, it helps with viruses. It actually helps with parasites. Sorry. It helps with parasites, viruses. It helps with bacteria, spirochetes. Like it's just really good. Yeast. It helps kill yeast. So it's something you get a good strong colloidal silver spray down your throat. You can do that on a daily basis, to really be honest. But anytime we get a cold, that's the first thing I go to is colloidal silver.
Yeah, we take it all the time.
I've had pink eye. When I fell in love with colloidal silver, when I started using it a lot was probably 15 years ago. The first time I got pink eye.
Did you take it, or I've heard of people putting it in their eye?
So how's that work? I sprayed it. So instead, you don't want to get in your eye.
Okay.
But you just close your eyes and spray in that conjunctiva area here, where the pink eye is actually infected, right, or where the pink eye is coming from. But the first time I ever had pink eye, I mean that lasts like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Waking up and it's like whatever, eyes are shut, closed. This time, literally, within the end of the day, it was gone. Wow. And every single time I've had or someone I've known has had it and I told them to use that, it's like by the end of the day.
Wow.
Super strong stuff.
I know we use it with our family all the time. I probably should have put this on our last episode, but we talked about it some in this one actually. Someone says, I know sugar isn't good, especially when wanting a strong immune system. What are some good alternatives to sugar? Sweeteners. Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good stuff out there, but I'd say the one that I'll say the one I like the most, we use the most, is going to be monk fruit.
Okay.
It doesn't create that sugar increase, insulin rush in your body. So monk fruit's a really good one to use, and it's one I think is closest to tasting like sugar.
Monk fruit.
Okay. So monk fruit's really good, and it also isn't going to be really hard for your liver to digest. So certain sugars like fructose, things with high fructose, like high fructose corn syrup, for instance, high fructose corn syrup, it's actually one of the biggest causes of fatty liver disease because your liver has to break this stuff down.
Yep. Okay, looks like we're back up. So somehow our broadcast stopped and we got cut off in the middle of it. But what we were talking about, I think, was some alternatives. Somebody had asked, okay, sweeteners. So let's finish that thought.
Cool. So I said monk fruit. Then the other ones that you want to kind of stay away from that have always been kind of touted as healthy is going to be your agave nectar. Agave nectar is like really high in fructose, which is hard for our liver to break down. So fatty liver issues can affect that. But then you got stevia. You can also use stuff like dates. Okay. I mean, dates are really good. They're still sugar, but it's more of a natural sugar for the body. Okay. Honey, local honey is huge. And now when you do honey, you want to make sure it's not in your like little bear with the plastic jar ones. Yeah. Right. Honey, actually, believe it or not, there's a lot of really bad honeys out there that have been, that are like brown sugar and stuff. So good local honey, and you know the source of it. I'd say those are the xylitol. And xylitol needs to be not from corn, but it's a type of bark that it comes from, actually. And so you can actually research to make sure you're getting good xylitol.
So there's lots of options. All right. Well, the last question that we'll toss on here is a lot of people want to know about supplements, things that can, again, we're shooting this video during the whole coronavirus, and people are wanting to know, what can I take that will help out with my immune system? So what are some things that maybe you would recommend? Yeah.
So right off the bat, there's certain things that they're supplementing, meaning like we need them, but we're not getting them, and that's going to be vitamin D3. Okay. We need vitamin D3 for our body to function the way it needs to.
We're not in the sunshine much.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the immune system, and we're meant to be outdoors, and we're not. So you want to get a whole foods, not the store, but like real food, vitamin D3, and you want to have like a K2, vitamin A, vitamin E in there. Those are all fat soluble vitamins, which helps you absorb them better, and it actually helps D3 do what it needs to. Thorne is one company you can use that's really good, and then Systemic Formulas. Both those you can get online.
How much do you recommend, like vitamin D3?
So about 5,000 to 15,000 IUs. Okay. Based on if you're not outdoors at all, I would do about 15,000. If you're outdoors a lot, I would do maybe about 5.
Okay.
So.
Okay. What about is it spirulina?
Yeah, spirulina is a great superfood. So you got different superfoods like spirulina, cacao powder, maca root. These are really good foods that help boost your immune system. But at the end of the day, again, it's getting your body balancing and handling stress. So adaptogens are really good. So like ashwagandha, rhodiola, cordyceps are awesome. If I had to pick, I'll just give you my top 5 that I would say everyone, if you had to pick of all the stuff I could say, I would do D3, cod liver oil, Get it like a Nordic Naturals cod liver oil. It helps keep inflammation down around your cells. And then maybe like an elderberry or some sort of a superfood like a spirulina or elderberry that helps boost the immune system. Astragalus is a great one. So Stragalus. I don't even know if I say it right, but astragalus is shortens telomere lengths. It's amazing for your immune system. Turmeric is also really good for helping stabilize inflammation and strong for your immune system as well. Did I say 5?
The one that I don't want to bring up, but I know we should, is apple cider vinegar.
Oh, and then apple cider vinegar, yes.
Yeah, my favorite.
Apple cider vinegar, and you can do a liquid form, or you actually get capsules of apple cider vinegar. But it helps stabilize our stomach acid, which is huge when it comes to your immune system functioning properly and you absorbing what you eat. So a few people realize is if a lot of us have stomach acid issues, and if you eat food and it doesn't break down, and the acid's not right, the proteins don't actually break down to amino acids. They get into your lower gut and actually create an immune response.
Wow.
Like it could be autoimmune. Sometimes will stem from this, from a leaky gut, or just straight inflammation, which is stressing you out and depressing your immune system.
Wow.
So your digestive health is a key part of your immune system. So,
that stuff tastes so bad, man.
I know.
I've had it once or twice maybe, and it's pretty bad. I've got a friend that actually their little girl will drink it straight. She will put it straight. And
she's got like scars in her throat.
It's so bad, but she'll drink it straight. And
I don't even know if that's a good. That has to be bad for you.
Well, I don't think she's done it but once.
Okay.
So, well, this stuff is all extremely helpful. I hope that we've put a lot out there as far as just different ways that we can be healthy, that we can take just really natural approaches. One of the things I appreciate about you and your wife, Holly, is your approach of just recognizing that God created us to be healthy. He created even as you're talking, I'm thinking the sun's out there. He created the sun, to give us vitamin D. It's like how he has created the whole picture is just so brilliant. Yeah. And so what we're trying to do is just give you guys, as I said earlier in the broadcast, just more tools of maybe instead of your go-to is this tool, maybe your new go-to could be a different tool, that we've talked about. And so hopefully this will be something good for you guys. Do us a favor, share these videos. We really would love to just get some of this encouraging information out there. I think it'll bring hope for people. We really just want to combat fear right now with just releasing just encouragement and hope. So hope you guys enjoy it. And thanks again for doing this with me. And we'll get back on here and maybe do it again in the future. So have a good one.